Hey everybody, this is Scoots. This is a new kind of experimental version of Sleep With Me we've never done before. So welcome. These are just bedtime stories from our podcast, Sleep With Me. And to make them feel fresh, these ones are from a couple years ago. So if you're a regular listener, you might get a refresh. And if you're new, these are just bedtime stories from a show called Sleep With Me. They're strange, they're meandering, they're a little bit different. And all this is made possible by listeners like you, regular listeners like you. And so I just want to let you know that's how we're able to put the show out. And so if you are a fan of Sleep With Me, you listen to it on a regular basis, please consider supporting the show. You get ad-free episodes, you get ad-free story-only episodes, tons of other cool stuff at Sleep With Me Plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But if you're in a position and you have some money every month, or you say, hey, maybe I don't watch that streaming service, I'd rather give it to a podcast, think about your favorite podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, and support that podcast. If it is Sleep With Me, I consider supporting the show would be great. But if it isn't, or there's a podcast you listen to way more, brings you a lot of value during the day, please support that podcast. Podcasting is going through a different time right now, and your favorite podcast, the one you get the most out of, could use your support the most. So consider supporting it however they request support. Just check it out, like listen to the show or check out their website, or consider supporting Sleep With Me. If Sleep With Me, you say, oh no, Sleep With Me is the one I listen to the most, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster that wonders what landlubbers means. So I'm going to have to look that up later. If you do know, I mean, you'll be hearing this a few months after I record it, but let me know, because maybe I forgot. Either I forgot to look it up or I forgot what it meant again. Because you say landlubber. No, I'm a land lover, man. I love living on the land and standing on it. Sea liker, land lover, sea appreciator. What about, plasma? I don't know. I haven't encountered any, I haven't lived in a plasma zone. I've gone swimming, lived on the land. You know, the air, that's a whole different story. I would love to say I'm a plasma lover. Sorry. Oh, I'm trying to kick off a sleep podcast here. If you're confused, then you're in the right place. Because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a quick message here. If you get a lot out of Sleep With Me, if you're a regular listener, you like these new things we're trying out, like the story-only version of the show. If you're new, don't worry about any of this. But if you're a regular listener of Sleep With Me, or you're a regular listener of any podcast, if you have a favorite podcast, and it's not Sleep With Me, that's totally cool. If you have podcasts you listen to way more, or you get way more value out of, I totally understand that. Consider supporting that podcast. Podcasting as an industry is kind of going through a weird phase right now. Direct support from listeners is going to be, it seems like it's going to be the future of most shows. And so consider supporting the podcast you really love. And you could do that. You could find out, you could listen to the show and see how they ask to be supported, or reach out to them and say, hey, how can I support you? Or if you can't afford, a few dollars a month, you say, hey, how else can I support you? But if Sleep With Me is the one, Sleep With Me Plus is the best way to support Sleep With Me. Sign up for Sleep With Me Plus. Not only you get an unbelievably sweet, different ways to listen to the show, but it's a huge help for us to be able to do stuff like this. But yeah, think about what your favorite podcast is, and then go ahead and go to their website, or if you already know how they like to be supported, support that show. Thanks and good night. All right, everybody, it's time for our episodically modular series, Tales of Lady Witchbeard. Now, if you're new to the show or to Lady Witchbeard, don't worry. This could be your first episode. We designed it in an episodically modular way, so you could listen to them in any order. I'm going to catch up on everything you need to know. And this could be your first episode. You could catch up on the other ones. And you say, oh, those are like the prequels to this, the first episode I listened to. So let's give you the info then, so you can sleep easy. Maybe you're already asleep. You're looking great, by the way. There's nothing that calms me more, really, than the steady motion of a breath, whether it's, wherever I'm seeing it or I'm imagining it right now. That steady breath, just like the few times I've seen Lady Witchbeard sleeping. She's a witch, she's a pirate, she's a heroine. She was once living in a witch world, world like ours, but a witch-based realm. But she said, this isn't really for me. Just a witch-based life is not for me. She discovered a sea-based realm, the world of the 13 seas. And there she became a pirate and a witch. Both skills, I don't have the vocabulary, but, they're not interdependent, complementary skills, actually, piracy and witchcraft. Also, she was one of the few, or the only witch-based pirates, or pirate and witch. So she had many adventures on the 13 seas. I met her. We had some adventures. And we just happen to be in an adventure now where it seems like, from what we can tell, that a human, I think she was working in the pirate realm. Similar to the song, though, a woman named Brandy. Seems like she's a pirate at this point, though not an official pirate, because there's no more Pirates Guild to confirm that you're a pirate. But Brandy is working with some witch conqueror who conquers realms, or tried to conquer the witch-based realm and is trying to conquer it again. And they're trying to gelatinize the 13 seas, like turn them from water to a gelatin. I think for a bunch of reasons. You'd say, why would anyone do that? I say, exactly. The sea's just fine as it is, especially in the 13 seas, because they don't got us, to deal with. But I think it's like both like for economic gain, power, control, and maybe a little bit of getting back at somebody underneath it. Now, obviously, Lady Witchbeard's a pirate. She doesn't want the seas. She's with Don Dankle, another pirate, and myself, Daw. And so we figured out that was a plan and that it was somehow related to this person called Wilts, or hopefully I'll just call him Wilts. Well, I guess it's easier to say Wilts now. But Wilts was also known as the man who loved the sea more than Brandy, in a song that somehow made it all the way to our world. Who would have thought, like the multiverse or the transverse plane, as I call it? Actually, they are different things. Like who would have thought multiverse would get continually co-opted by corporations, and then redefined to say, okay, well, that's not what I'm talking about. Now, back when it was a Spider-Verse, that was a multiverse I could get behind. Any verse with Miles Morales and those other cool other versions, and even Loki's multiverse. I don't know if those were multiverses. So the transverse plane is more like that, endless whatever, but not like the end of Loki. Okay, I got mixed up there. Is any of that important? It was just interesting to me that I think there really are permeable layers between the universes, or maybe people do travel, because the song Brandy, what a good life you could be, something in the love of the sea. That song was not, I guess it was in a movie that happens in another universe too. So that does make sense. So, okay. So the man who loved the sea, we were looking for the man who loved the sea. We found him in the 13th sea, which is a lower sea, which we don't have here on Earth, but it's like, where the, what are those called? Intercontinental plates or planes? Continental plates, I think they're called, or something. If you use that model, this plate happens to be much lower than all the other plates around it. So it's kind of like a sunken plate with water flowing into it. Supposedly inaccessible because it's so far down. Not like anything we have in our world that you could get in, but you wouldn't be able to enjoy it because when you got down there, you would probably be travel to another post, whatever they call this realm, big farm in the sky or whatever. But we got down there. Beautiful, by the way. If you ever get a chance to go there, maybe in some sort of virtual reality, any sunken realms, gigantic waterfalls, mountains, mist. I guess I picture where we were was lush because that was the parts that were getting the most light. But I'm sure there's parts that are less lush because the sunlight's different. But of course, we were at, if for story's sake, we were on a lush place, just because it's more. That's what I thought of. So I don't have time to explain the biology of it, the geology. Oh, also, it's closer to the center of Earth. It makes it more warm, maybe. So there we found the man who loves the sea. The man who loves the sea first was resistant to going back with us because man who loves the sea was a bit stubborn. Then we kind of had a little interaction. Lady Witchbeard and Don Dankel admitted they were taking the man who loves the sea, whether he was going or not. But eventually we got the man who loves the sea to agree. Save this. If you can't we got to save all the seas. There's 13 seas to be saved, and we need your help. So he agreed, Wiltz, and then I think he said, well, I can't, a couple of complications at the end of the last episode. By the way, I can't leave, and also it's impossible to leave. And like all good sleep podcast stories, we said as a team trying to figure out problem solving, better not do this without a good night's rest. So our characters rested, and now they awake for another tale of Lady Witchbeard, first introduced by our Hollywood announcer, Mr. Antonio Banderas. The ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls, the friends beyond the binary, it's time to take a trip to the 13 seas and beyond with another tale. Lady Witchbeard. Yeah, splash, splish. Magic. Tales of Lady Witchbeard. Thank you. That was magic. Every time you speak, it's magic. Every time your body creaks, though, not magic. I don't know. I think, like, can we try also not, other than when you're recording, not smiling? Because I think that was another one of the sounds I've been hearing when I've been recording. Like, I'm just imagining this, but I think it's true. Like, you're lying on my bed with the Antonio Banderas, shoes off, but also I have the extra comforter, so I don't, that I have my privacy. But I can sense that you're trying to silently check your notifications, and occasionally you smile. Probably, you get some text from your family or a loved one, or somebody witty says something, and you smile. And I hear this sound. It sounds a bit like I would imagine a wind chime in the home of an angel sounds like when the angel's loved ones visit and their wings accidentally hit the wind chime, like that kind of sound. It's kind of like on here it doesn't really capture what it really sounds like, twinkling or tinkling. And I'm pretty sure your teeth make some sort of sound like that, or your spirit, your joyful spirit, which, no offense, makes a noise. I mean, I'm trying not to be judgmental about it. So could you try to just, for the next hour and 10 minutes, turn the joy down, and maybe I'm not saying never smile again, but if possible, don't smile physically or on the inside either, because I'm pretty sure it'll still make the sound. You're one of the only people I know that I have a confirmation based in conjecture that you make a spiritual noise. Your soul makes a noise. I've always been thinking it was your fault, but it's really your soul. Your soul has You have a noisy soul, Antonio. Scooter, I've never been prouder. And I've never been prouder to know my joy sparks the noise that angels, wind chime and angels' wings would connect with love. And I'll try not to do that, though. Tales of Lady Witchbeard. That's Mr. Antonio Banderas. This is Tales of Lady Witchbeard. All right, Lady Witchbeard, Daw, Dundankle. Yeah, I guess it's time for me to tell you of all the myths about the drain. And so you have a clear understanding of why we can't leave, or why I can't leave, but also why none of you can leave physically. Like, I can't leave willingly, and none of us can get out of here. And I haven't told this tale. I'm familiar. This is a tale I live in now, a myth. I'm living within a myth. But it explains a lot how this 13th sea came to be, and the drain, and a lot of others. But I do forget some details. But it is a myth. So, and we can always read more about it later. But it starts with the goddess, there's multiple, the gods and goddesses and powerful beings. And there was this one goddess who loved the sea and everything in the sea so much. And I can very much relate to that. And she always doted on the sea. And I don't know, there's a different, what you would call that goddess is different for everyone. But for the time being, I'll call her Sea Breeze, just for sake, because I know, like, where everybody's from, you might have a different version of this goddess. And then there was also a god of what we would now, Daw, I'm familiar, I do a lot of reading, so... Not the same thing for you, Daw, but what we would call a god of Middle Earth, like actually the middle of the earth, where there's molten materials, or you might call it the god of, again, as I've been familiar talking with Daw, and Daw talks and Daw's sleep, the god of the big farm, the big farmer, we'll call it for this version of the myth. And the big farm really only works. The big farm, people come to the big farm and they eat some grass, or they plant some seeds. They bring skills from the time they might have been in the realm of Seabreeze's realm. And they have new skills, and they bring those to the big farm, and then they move on from the big farm. Which is a spoiler for some people, but I don't know, like, this myth doesn't have to do with where do they go after the big farm. Daw, you put your hand down. I don't know. And this kind of thing, was kept in balance. And at some point, though, Seabreeze thought to herself, she had been spending a lot of time just with, she had fallen so in love with the sea, and oh boy, do I relate to this too, and all the creatures in the sea. She hadn't been enjoying the fellowship of the other gods. And some would say she lost her way. And she decided that no more, she used all her powers to say no more, no one's going to the big farm. She didn't realize that there would have been ramifications for the sea. And the big farmer did, though. Also, the big farmer stopped having anybody coming in, which had ramifications for the big farm. And because the big farmer wasn't in the sea, it said, look at the sea's already, it's having an impact on the sea. And Seabreeze just ignored those things. So the big farmer went to the other gods and said, look at this. And the gods said, work it out, or let Seabreeze deal with the consequences. And it was frustrating. It wasn't as simple as that. But at some point, the big farmer actually went to Middle Earth and said, okay, how much power can I summon? And in the power of this case of gravity, started trying to pull as much as it could towards, like, it actually increased the gravity in this area. And Lady Witchbeard, I know you have thoughts about that, but, and that's what caused this, it basically pulled the Earth closer to Middle Earth. And, that kind of created this situation to try to attempt to restore the balance because, the waterfalls would, like, Seabreeze didn't expect it. And so all the waterfalls started flowing over. Obviously, they created a new people for the big farm. But it was a little bit too much. And, the pendulum had swung too far the other way because, the kind of deep chaos and the strength of the big farmer, like the water started flowing, and then it started flowing even into the Middle Earth, the physical Middle Earth, not just a metaphorical one, being pulled by this stronger pull, and threatened to extinguish the fires at the center of the Earth, which I think we attribute to some of the, well, anyway, not important. And then there was tons of steam, which also, and then Seabreeze was like trying. So then there was more chaos because then instead of working it out, they kind of had a bunch of arguments. And they went back and forth and back and forth. Now, meanwhile, there was beings just like all of you and myself living on the land and the sea. There were sea-based beings and earth-based beings, land beings. And they didn't want to passively go, like they could see everything. They understood what was happening, or like within the myths. And so they went to the other gods and said, what the heck, you're going to, like, look what this caused. Now these two can't even work it out. And we don't think that, we'll work out a solution, just take their powers away. So the gods said, okay. So the gods took their powers away, right, of the other two gods, and then things calmed down. But with the overall chaos, but the solving of the water pouring into the center of the earth and turning to steam, it did not stop. The hole was still getting filled. And then it was someone with magic and someone with knowledge that came together, a scientist, Layla, and a magic user, I think from a different non-witch realm, but named Doreen. And they came up with this idea of a giant drain, which may seem ridiculous, but and they called on the gods of, the god of the steel stuff and the, the mother and the crone, and they said, hey, we need help. We're going to save this realm of the 13 seas. And to do it, we have to create this giant drain we're going to put over the hole. And they said, why a drain? They said, well, a drain will slow down. Like it's designed to let some water through, but not all the water through. And they said, because we found that actually, like the water... they said the water, like the Earth's, the geology is figuring itself out and trying to stay in balance. It just needs a little bit extra help. And so they put a drain, which is here in the 13th sea. You can't see it because it's underneath the water. And it's beyond, it's very complicated. But because there's other mechanisms, like they said, that help the geology, and some of the geology figured itself out, and I guess the steam becomes condensation, so not all the steam is bad, and some of the steam just shoots back up, but somehow that was the solution they needed. Wait a second, I do have a question. Don Dankel's got a question. Where did you learn all this? Where you seem to know a lot, and you said there's even more to know that you read about. Oh, the great library, Don Dankel's. There's a great library here. That's where I conducted most of my training, which is the next part of the story, is that There was only one thing with the drain, is that it's in a very isolated place, and, the gods couldn't help forever. They don't want to be involved in the earth. That was what they had learned through this mistake of the other two gods. And so they said, this is going to be a place that's not really reachable. I mean, otherwise you had to fly in on it. So, the gods were providing a lot of the drain construction help. But once the drain was done, the gods said, we're no longer going to be a part of this. We'll give you some tools, some magic and some powers, a library with self-paced courses that has, it's very, what you would call high tech. But we need a human who will be, their aging will change so they could live a long time. But they'll have to stay down here and clean the drain. I'm sorry, what? So that's what I do here. That's what I've been down here doing, is I'm the drain cleaner. That's what, when I removed myself to the 13th seas, it wasn't just to leave. It's a secret, but I guess no one comes. It was only a secret because no one would ever know about it. It was a secret to me. Like up in the 12 seas, you never heard about the drain cleaner. No, these myths sound similar to a lot of myths, like all of them. But Lady Witchbeard, no, I want to hear. Keep going about this drain cleaning. So someone has to clean the drain and maintain it. Otherwise, it would get clogged up. Or, occasionally needs repair and maintenance. And that does take some powerful magic. That's some magic you've seen me use, help us sea creatures that are here, and that kind of thing. Okay, though, this is interesting to me, because I left my world, but as a witch, I've never heard of this, one. And two, if you're the drain cleaner now, who was the drain cleaner before you? Right, correct. Don Dankel's wondering, how is the knowledge, so the knowledge is at the library. Yeah, I replaced someone. I just ended up here, but now I say, was I guided here, or did I, I came here to find out what was it, fate, or was it an accident? And there was a woman here who had been cleaning the drain for some time, and she taught me her powers. She taught me how to repair, do the basic repairs. I mean, mostly she taught me how to use the library. So, because she was very distracted, she said, this is it, my time. You've come to clean the drain. And I said, I guess so. And it took some time, for me to learn. I guess I was somewhat of her apprentice, but mostly working through, learning. It's not that complicated once you have the powers. And you get more and more power as you complete more and more. It's weird. The library is, made by gods. So, when you complete a course, you get a new ability. Also, the drain, I just did a full rehab of it. Your timing is perfect. So, you hear, I'll use a spell to clear the water. You see how, look how good. Oh, wow, it's shiny. Yeah, I mean, the shiny's not necessary, but I said to myself, I don't know, it's a scheduled maintenance, full rehab. Okay, but, okay, so you can't leave because the drain would get clogged, but what happened to the person you replaced? Did they just go to the big farm somehow? Yes, they did. They did. Okay, that was a little strange. I'm going to need more information. Okay, well, there's something, this is another kind of tangent, and I know. So there's something called the Drain Cleaner's Conundrum. You're down here alone. Another section of the library is dedicated to this. You're down here. All the 13 C's rely on you. Now, there are self-paced courses to maintain your self-care. The gods even figured that out. But, it is a little bit lonely. And I don't know, by whatever trial and error they did, they found out, yeah, this is unfortunately a solitary job. But there, like I said, there's ways to help with that. But one of the drain cleaner's conundrum is you're cleaning the drain all the time. And at some point, like a little piece of sand gets up in your brain and it starts moving around up there of what's beyond the drain. Where does the drain go? I clean it all the time. Where does it go? And you say, well, it just goes in different places. And you say, really? Because I've seen things go down there. And big things, small things, things go down there. And sometimes you just stare at the water. So we call it the drain cleaner's conundrum. And one of the ways the goddesses of arts intervene for that. So they encourage you to make art about the drain cleaner's conundrum. Because you really, the only solution is to go down, like you want to go down there. But obviously, that's... nothing goes down, like, the drain is one of those things that is a direct link to the big farm in the sky. So there's physical art, there's musical art, all of the drain cleaners throughout history, poems and fiction and romance about the drains. And then you consume that art, too. That's one of the ways you stay socialized in some sense, is connection through these other artists and other drain cleaners. But it's a conundrum, so it keeps going, and that's how your time's slow. The drain always calls, and eventually it calls you to the. I would like we don't, again. That's what makes it. You say it calls you the big farm, so. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, there's been times in history where it's been, anyway, I don't want to get too deep. Does that make sense? Yes, this is like Don Dankel, Daw. So our conundrum beyond the drain cleaners one is if we take you with us, there'll be no one to monitor the drain. Wouldn't the gods just send somebody by fate or something? Like, how long would we have? Well, Lady Witchbeard, I don't know, but I've sworn to protect this drain and keep it clean. So I can't, like, that's what I mean. I can't go. I mean, I agreed to go, but, you know what I mean? I'm laying the groundwork here. Come on. Can you help me out? So you're laying the groundwork, that one of us needs to replace you. You'll go with us. We can't get out, but you would go with us if someone stayed and cleaned the drain. Okay, this is Don Dangle. This has been a lot of talk, but it's clear there's a great library. Library's my number one. I love piracy. This is a sea. I love the seas as much as the two of you. Daw, I know you love water. So it's pretty clear. I mean, this is the easy one, Lady Witchbeard. I, Don Dangle, will stay behind. Now, I will form the Guild of the Drain Cleaners, unless there's a rule against that, and intertwine it with the Guild of the Pirates Guild. And I won't just, Lady Witchbeard, in the future, when things are reestablished, you could send, does anybody send you notes in a bottle? I guess no one knew you were down here. But Lady Witchbeard, have confidence. I'll help, that you'll all get out. But I'll be down here, and we'll make a reconnection with that world above. And this will be the 13th sea with a guild, of the new Pirates Guild. Don Dangle, that's very perfect. Makes sense. And so we'll miss you on our next. So anyway, that's good that's out because we really don't have time beyond that. But that still doesn't change the fact of how do we get out. So, Wilts, so you know of no one. I guess the question I was asking myself internally, and I'll just say it out loud, Don Dangle, Daw probably don't answer, but I've never heard of this on the surface world. Don Dangle, you're pretty well read. No, I've never heard of this drain cleaner stuff. So I would agree, Lady Witchbeard, that means that no one has carried the story back. So, you know what? I got to take a walk. Daw and I are going to go for a walk. Daw, let's go for a walk. And I need to focus and figure out how we're going to get out of here. And we could brainstorm it, but... Okay, Daw. I don't know how we're... Daw, there's something not right about all this. I just wanted to talk to you alone. I don't know. My gut is off about a few things. One, there's something with the gravity in my magic that's not right. I mean, I was able to do my magic is limited, which I assume has to do with the power, like the gravity sink or whatever, and the powers for the drain. But there's something else that's like, like the Wilts just ended up here. Like, it seems like this would be something you would either be assigned to do by the gods or forced to do by the gods. And so to me, that really doesn't make any sense at all. Because, I don't know, there's so I'm having a little trouble with that, but that's fine because we still, it doesn't change what we need to do. Other than the fact that I don't have all my direct connection to magic. I'm not feeling powerful. So how do we get out of here, Daw? If you have any ideas, I don't know. And I guess I'm feeling a little bit of the pressure of all of the 13 C's. Like, I guess, Daw, I don't really talk this way normally, but I'm worried because, and I guess part of it's just me. It's like, what if we are down here while everything unfolds up there? The whole fate of all the 13 C's, the witch realm, is right now out of my control and could unfold without my influence. And I feel like I could help. I mean, and also I feel drawn to help and intervene. But is that part of this is we're down here and we really aren't going to be able to get out? Or do I need to let it go and hope that the Pirates Guild is just waiting, or some other powerful guild of witches is waiting to intervene? Like, how do you handle this? You're more familiar with this stuff, Daw. So can you help me? Okay, Lady Witchbeard. This is, you're a heroine, so of course you want to intervene and help. I don't think there's really a lot of movies where, unless it's part of the plot point, where the heroine just says, okay, I'm going to take this, whatever they call it, the third act or the big part, I'm going to take it off, unless they're kind of setting something else up. But if it was a real superhero like you, or a real pirate queen, or pirate witch, I don't know, if I needed someone to save my sea, or my seas, or my world, it would be you. So, I mean, it looks like right now you're being asked to give up some control. Wait a second. Lady Witcher, did you see, like, so I saw something. I could have sworn I saw something really big go down. I've been watching the falls, trying to see stuff. Not that it's not a good idea, by the way. Don't do it. But I could have sworn I saw some stuff. Now, it may have been my imagination, but look at that floating. Like, some of the big stuff is floating off here to the right. So can we just go this way? Because, like, see that thing? Is that what I think it is? Yeah, that's a cauldron, Daw. It's a pretty big cauldron. Yeah, let's grab it. It's floating. Holy cow, this is some sort of giant retention pond. Yeah, Daw, this is just some sort of giant retention pond. There's a couple other cauldrons in here, a lot of wood. Okay. Let's stay at this area from the. So let's grab that cauldron. Look, it made it all the way down the falls. It's got one or two dings in it. It's like reminds me of Niagara Falls. Did I ever tell you about that? Like, that was one of the things I always thought about, the barrel over the falls. People used to do that. I think before there was the internet or TV, though. I think people, even though everybody says people are less responsible now, people would get in these barrels or try to make a metal barrel, a bit like a cauldron, and go and visit Niagara Falls. Really, duh. Yeah. And it's too bad, like, in this cauldron would be perfect, I guess, in theory, I'm just saying. But we can't go back over the falls, obviously, in a cauldron, so it won't work. Lady Witchbeard, what do you think this retention pond is? Well, if you could see, there's like a small, it goes into it's a pond, it's a retention pond. So there's a small, like you could see on the other side, there's gates, in a spillway. I just happened to learn about this one time in witch school. And so I'd assume that the drain cleaner, like they they do something for these larger, it's just for larger things float into this, the way it's designed, like the gates at the end. So the drain cleaner can use the raw materials here to build stuff, to have supplies, probably the library teaches them how to do basic things. And then a few times a year, they must open part of the drain it declogs the drain, pre-declogs the drain. So this stuff will go down the drain, go down the drain. You open the drain and send the stuff down the drain or something like that. Yeah, it's probably got some way of moving it, like a crank or something. And there's probably some other spillways and dams to keep that stuff out. But I can't help but think this is so. Old Lady Witchbeard, you thinking what I'm thinking? You could cast cauldron portal. We could just go in that cauldron and get to we can just get out of here. You're right. This is perfect. Just so glad I noticed the cauldron. No, the magic's not working that way. And also there's something. I mean, I guess it's the magic of the drain, but yeah, I can't cast portal. I tried it. Because I tried it in a coconut shell and in a clam, even though the clam, Yuda should have been there because the clam actually, I think it either sprayed water or tried to kiss me. But I can't cast a cauldron. But if the Wilts has raw materials, what if we try to go down the drain in the cauldron, in two cauldrons, like a barrel, like you talked about? Well, we need to get to work. So this is what we need to do. Okay, grab that cauldron. Oh, here comes Don Dankel and Wilts. Wilts must have known or sensed it. Wilts, do you have another cauldron the same size as this? Lady Witchbeard, I do. You found the raw materials pond. We emptied a few times. I know. It makes total sense. Pre-clog the drain. I like it. But so we need another cauldron like this. Do you have? I'm assuming you have a way to seal. You have ways. You have some sort of shop, right? We need to seal these two cauldrons eventually together. We're going to have to outfit it. Don Dankel, I need you to outfit this, so it's maneuverable. Okay, Lady Witchbeard, so Wilts and I, what about, you, Daw, and Wilts are going to go inside of this? Yeah, so make sure to put some bedding in there or some soft stuff. But I mean, this cauldron's much bigger than the three of us. The two of them together, we can make it airtight. I will be able to prepare. Now, Wilt, my magic's not at full strength. Yes, Lady Witchbeard. It's twofold. There's something happening that I'm not sure about either. My magic is not at full strength, but also, yeah, the drain magic, it tends to be protective, because it is beyond, a magic beyond human form or mammal form. So, it probably reduces it, but there is something else happening too, Lady Witchbeard, that I thought it was your magic, though, that was making me feel... No, I don't think so. But so I think I can prepare. So this is what we're going to need to do. Wait, Lady Witchbeard, are we going down the drain? Yeah, we're going to go down the drain. But we're going to prepare first. So I'm going to prepare you for the preparation. And it's not going to be easy. So here's what's going to happen. Don Dankel and Wilts, you're going to start to design a dog. Maybe you should walk them through this barrel thing. But this is going to be a maneuverable barrel. And Wilts, I need you to help a little bit on that. But I have to ask you, how much do you love the sea? Because... I'm going to need you. Here's what I think is, and tell me if I'm wrong, Welts. If you really love the sea, you could speak with it, and you could speak with everything in the sea, and I'm sure that you communicate in some way. But it doesn't seem like you ever used the sea to communicate with the surface world, the other 12 seas. Lady Witchbeard, I don't understand. Well, there's this game that Daw was telling me about called Telephone, and we used to call it Misspoken Spells. We used to do it. It's a very similar game where or mixed up shopping list. That was another thing. So what we would do at witch school when I was a young lass, we would all line up. And the first person in line, the instructor, she would give us a list of ingredients. And we would whisper the list of ingredients to the next person, and they would whisper it to the next person and the next person and the next person. And then the last person in line would go and gather the ingredients. And... then prepare the ingredients, and then the teacher would intervene, because every time, even if it was spoken soft, slow, the ingredients would be incorrect, and incorrect in a way that would have ended it not well for the person casting the spell or preparing the potion. And so... this actually doesn't give me a ton of confidence, but maybe we could figure out a way around it. But it was to teach the value of double-checking your work, but communicating clearly and collaboratively, not insularly. So I'm wondering if you could do that with the sea beyond the drain. If you never used it, you never would have thought... to talk, Lady Witchbeard, I understand what you're saying. I guess, it's something as a drain cleaner's conundrum. It's not, I understand. It's just a bit of I know I'm thinking about what you might hear when someone's, a brine shrimp, a brine shrimp going down the drain might not be thinking what you're thinking it's thinking. It might not just think, it might think, how am I going to make the most of this? While a mammal might think, I'm going, they might have other thoughts about the big farm. what if a brine shrimp has different thoughts? Did you think you were limited by that? All the drain cleaners were? Huh, Lady Witchbeard, this is the kind of outside leadership thinking. Like, no, I never thought about it that way. I've been, in some sense, just thinking about it from my perspective as a mammal and a human, and and all the other drain cleaners were humans or mammals, a few, sea-based mammals. So no, so what are you asking me? And why don't you start communicating with the water and whatever's in the water and see if you could keep a constant stream of communication going both ways within the stream that we're going to get in, so we know which way to go. I need you to really love the sea and communicate with the sea so that when we go down the drain, we know where we're going. Because there's going to be a way, we're going to find a way through. We have to. But Lady Witchbeard, what if it's like a really small way or a really warm way? Don't worry, Daw. I'm going to prepare all the magic I can here. I have ideas, but I have a few things. We could become brine shrimp is one thing, but not for very long due to the magic I have at my availability. But this is the thing that I talked to Daw about, and I'll talk to all of you about it. And then this is going to be tough, though, because Daw, you're really going to have to focus because you're going to be like Don Dankel's going to have to teach you how to steer this submersible cauldron. And Don Dankel, you're going to have to, we'll have to say our goodbyes at some point. And Wilts, you're going to really have to focus on talking to the sea and really parsing all that information out. And then I'm going to have to focus on doing my best so we'll all have to work together but I have to hope that, like Daw said, this is a heroine and heroes, they say yes, even when everything else says no. This is the only choice I can make. However it turns out, we go down the drain and we come out of the drain, or we go down the drain and we go wherever we're going. This seems clear to me that this is where I want to put our efforts, and we need each other. I can't control this outcome without you. We can't keep the drain clean and without leaving Don Dankel behind. I'll be honest, Wilts, I don't want to trust your magic because I'm not 100% on you. So we gotta, we've got to do this no matter how it turns out. So I think it's time for us to set to work. I put you all to sleep while I was just making my speech. That was my heroic speech, Daw. You're smiling, though, so I think you're listening. But we're gonna do it. Not only do we need to do it, I want to do it, and I want your help, Daw, and I want your help, Wilts. And I know, I hope. Hope is enough sometimes. I hope we'll work together. I feel good about it. So let's rest, and then we'll build the cauldron, and then we'll go down the drain. Good night, Daw. Good night, Don Dankel. Good night, Wilts. Good night, Cauldron. All right, I want to thank everyone that became a patron recently. I want to thank Lynn, Steve, and Vaughn. Thanks, and good night. Nancy, Charlotte, and Stuart. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Erica, Lauren, and Tom. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Julia, Meg, and Megan. Thanks, and good night. Brandon, Allison, and Molly. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Angela, Susan, and Dorothy. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. John, Cindy and Cray, thank you, thanks, and good night. Sarah, Caitlin, and Susan, thank you, thanks, and good night. Julia, Josie, and Julia S., thanks, and good night. Melissa, Dale, and Tina, thank you, thanks, and good night. Rachel, Randall, and Tanya, thank you, thanks, and good night. Sasha, Robin, and Susan, thank you, thanks, and good night. Karen and Vanessa, thank you, thanks, and good night. And Sabrina and Brendan, thank you, thanks, and good night. Sleeping Beauty exists as a free podcast. Get people to support the show on Patreon, support our sponsors, refer people to the podcast. So that's amazing. And, I think that's it. I really appreciate it. Sorry, I got mixed up there. Usually I don't get mixed up at the end of the show because it's so easy. But, I appreciate it. And here's a little bit more about referring people to the show. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots with a tuck you in message here for our bedtime story podcast. We're trying out, and I kind of said this, free way to support Sleep With Me and bedtime stories from Sleep With Me is join our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. You get rewarded for introducing people to a free version of Sleep With Me, including access to Sleep With Me Plus. But most of all, just think about what your favorite podcast is or one of your favorite podcasts, and then support that podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, but just to support your favorite podcast, because they could use your support right now. And if you decide, Sleep With Me is actually my favorite podcast, wow, I'm blushing, seriously, even though it's imaginary here in this context, and support it at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Or listen to a show you love and see how they want to be supported. Thanks.